Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome back to Jibber. I am your host, as always, Skitaramas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. And with me today, we first off have Darkness over in the British corner.
Hello, everybody.
We have Hades, who's just kind of here.
Indeed.
Joining Darkness in the British corner, we have Lightning Flash, who hasn't been on Jibber in quite some time.
Yes, I return. Hello.
And in the
Welcome.
background, staring into your soul, we have Paladin.
Souls.
And lastly, throwing a complete and total hissy fit over the tiniest minutia of firearms, we have Soviet Starfish, otherwise known as Patrick, who is also glaring angrily at Paladin because he happened to be poking fun at him for said rage-induced hissy fit over guns.
And now is the gun lord.
All I'm saying is, if Mikhail Kalashnikov saw what China did to his child, he would fucking destroy China with such divine rage. We would never have them in the history books ever again.
There's no such thing as divinity.
Or PG-rating, apparently.
So, how's everyone's week been?
Good.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got one of the parts for my computer, so yes, an 8 terabyte hard drive.
Damn, nice.
Ooh.
Oh, it's either 8 or
Nice.
16. Or I think it's either 8 or 16, but yeah.
So, as it stands, I do actually have one small thing I kind of want to address real quick. I didn't really announce this properly to YouTube at large, so I will do that now. I am taking the rest of December off. Starting on Christmas Eve is when I started doing that. I haven't recorded anything since the 24th. This is mostly so I can recharge my batteries, focus more on some of my social life, and just rewind a bit, relax, and get ready for the new year, because I do have a lot of shit I got to do in the new year. Got to keep doing the readings and whatnot. So that, just as a heads up, the first few days of January are going to be a little on the barren side in terms of readings popping up. But once we get past that first week or so of January, things should start picking up again a bit more swiftly. So you have been given proper warning. You are all aware. And with that, we can move on to our first topic for today, which is, as usual, our FFD6 recap.
And you
Very
may
wise.
be
Very wise.
feel free to pound at his door saying, "Where is our readings?"
No, don't do that. I want my privacy.
Unsubscribe
no,
We
to
don't get
Patreon.
privacy. We're just wondering where the
You're
shit
a
is.
YouTuber, you don't get privacy.
Well, now you do know where the shit is. And bullshit, I do get privacy. It's called my house.
It's called my house.
It's my house and
I
death
mean-
trap to all invaders.
All right, so the FFD6 recap. To summarize events, following the conclusion of Rocket's arc, where she had her big, heartfelt farewell with Dr. Lazarus, her creator, and discovered that her mechanical leg had been completely shorn off, and the party managed to rendezvous with Sid at Dami Checkpoint, a settlement that bridges the gap between Linsalem, Volia, and the Greater Uzura Desert. They were able to get Rocket repaired so that she has a new mechanical leg that lets her run faster, so to speak, and is made of lighter weight parts. She's just basically gotten a complete retrofit and upgrade. So now she can fly for up to 5 hours each day, she can scan enemies, and there is no longer a chance of her Tier 1 limit break backfiring on her whenever she uses it. Quite the improvement. Following
She has
that,
had the Edward Elric treatment.
Following that,
Until
the
it
party
breaks
took
again.
some time in Dami Checkpoint to buy some new gear and items, largely in the form of a bunch of armor and a weapon for Neothil, so that everyone could have higher damage output and better defenses moving forward. Now, after that, they said goodbye to Sid, who asked them to pass along his goodwill to Fane Pharaoh, the contact the party has in the city of Kurzatan, which is their next destination. Following their shopping spree and saying farewell to Sid and the crew of the Stargazer, the airship that had been shepherding the party along for the last several sessions, they took their leave of Dami Checkpoint and officially passed out of Linsalem and into the territory of Volia. an older king, or actually, no, it's one of the more recently formed kingdoms on the continent, relatively speaking, but regardless, they trekked their way across the sands of the Uzura Desert for the better part of a week plus 1 extra day, having to stop briefly in the middle of their journey to deal with a sandstorm that cropped up, before finally they came to the city of Kurzatan, the home city of Thanatos, where
it sucks.
Oh, it is a shit show. Where they have the hope of locating a local organized crime lord and taking him down, the one responsible for the death of Thanatos' family, a guy named Chakal Vinaldi.
Sounds like a mafia.
Kinda, yeah.
It basically is.
Yeah, kinda. Bit less on the political influence side of things, but yeah, kind of a mafia. So the party were able to, after being borderline swindled by the guards at the gate, got access to Kurzatan, got themselves a room at a local inn to discuss their next move in private, and after figuring that their best bet would be to try and find either Fane Pharaoh or her family, settled down to get a night's rest. And in the night...
Emberlo and Gil.
Yeah, the party went from like over 7,000 to only having 82 by session's end. Largely because of all the gear shopping they did at the start.
Why does gear cost so goddamn much?
To be fair, the items you're getting is stuff you weren't supposed to be getting until like level 6. So like after your arc was when I was planning on getting that, but you decided to just shell out money already. So
I didn't.
You're the one who was encouraging it. But anyways.
Only armor for Ni and Mika. I wasn't expecting it to go
What
this
about
crazy.
me? Don't I get anything?
Well, sorry, you are built like a tank. You do a shit ton of damage.
He was the only one to be
That
knocked out
costs
when you were
me
all...
health.
That armor ain't gonna reduce the fucking damage to your spell.
Yeah, it does. That's the point of wearing higher level armor, is it decreases the damage you take
What, from his own spells?
from anything that hits him. And he doesn't get
Okay.
hit by his own spells because magic doesn't work like that.
Dark
What
side.
about that one's dark side?
Well, I mean, that's a thing that only happens if he wants it to. But that's not the point. I got a recap to finish.
Sorry.
So, the rest of the party went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, Thanatos was once again visited by his enigmatic master, Caius Artorial. They briefly talked, with Caius reminiscing on the day they met and how he's been building and training Thanatos for this one specific goal, this mission, killing Chakal. It's all been about that since the day they met, and they're finally putting all of that training into practice. So,
I'm gonna make me some boots.
you're gonna make
Soon you
you're
will
gonna
have
make
your revenge.
You're gonna make yourself some lizard soup.
Indeed.
I said boots, but
So, where we last left off, Thanatos blinked, Caius disappeared, and yeah, that's where our session for today ended. So, Thanatos, or Hades, Darkness, either of you have anything you want to add, anything you want to point out?
I would like to point out that Darkness here did not listen when I said let me do the talking and goes right up and damn near swindles all of our guild that we didn't even have.
It was great. Yeah. For context, when I mentioned the party damn near getting swindled at the gates of Kurzatan, what happened is the gates were closed and there were a couple of Bongan guards standing outside. And Thanatos said, okay, let me do the talking. Alicer, apparently being deaf for a couple seconds, just marched right up and said, hello! Tried to figure out how to get access, how much to get in? Like 200 gil a person. Oh, all right, then he's reaching for his purse. It's like, dude, you only have 500 gil and there are 5 of you. You don't have enough.
That's 1,000 gil right there.
Yes. So aka Tom, drags him back and just lets me do the talking, and I talked him down to 100 a person. Plus a favor that we're probably gonna have to do later, and I'm probably gonna have to kill him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was a funny moment. Kind of cringy because you're like, was he not listening?
Plus there was all that fun little banter of everybody other than my character hating the desert.
Mika especially. She's used to the northernmost oceans.
And then Nee is used to having trees. There's no
The way
trees
I
in the
see
treasure.
it,
She's used to there always being. I mean, that's kind of a real thing that can happen. Like in real life, if you grow up in one particular type of environment and then you find yourself in another, it can very quickly become very strange to you because, like, take me for example. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I am surrounded on all sides by stuff. I have mountains, I have forests, open grasslands, and an ocean right there, all around me. I am used to having a very
And an
cluttered
extreme.
environment.
I know another example is Hawaiians.
Yeah, Hawaii is kind of
It's
like that
tropical.
too. It's more tropical.
Yeah.
More tropical, a lot hotter than the Pacific Northwest, which is cold and damp all the time. But anyway, but the point is, when you live in one particular type of environment for long enough, and then you go to a new one that is completely different, it will strike you as odd. I have a hard time whenever, like, for example, I'm drawing, I have a hard time drawing any picture that doesn't have mountains in the background because I'm so used to them always being there. I've never, for example, been out in the middle of the ocean surrounded on all sides by water. Not once. There's always been a mountain range in view. And I've
You
never
should come
once...
down to the plains.
Yeah,
and have nothing but
that's
flat
what I was about to get to next. I have never been on the Great Plains where it's just flat. Nothing, just grass for miles and miles and miles in all directions, as far as you can see. I've never been there, but if I am, but I've heard anecdotes of people who have gone from like cluttered environments like mine to that and been completely confused. Like, where's all the stuff? There's supposed to be stuff, isn't there? It's just empty. Where's all the stuff? I imagine I'll be kind of like that. I'll be looking around and just feel not at all at home. And it's kind of a similar thing with Neothil and Mika. Mika's used to being surrounded on all sides by water and a mountain range right there. Neothil is used to there being trees in sight. Neither of them are used to an open desert of sandy dunes, angry storms, and rippling distances.
you know what? The way I see it, I think the sun got to freaking Alisai's head.
Probably. That would be a good explanation.
I told y'all to buy cloaks and cover up, but nobody ever listens to me.
Well, I noted myself to get myself a cloak now. Until then, you have to deal with dopey Alisai that day.
Yeah.
200 gil? Okay. No.
Okay, that sounds fine. Totally not a ripoff. So, anything else you guys want to point out?
No, that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Okay.
And then the whole like first 20-25 minutes of us going through our new stuff, even though we were technically supposed to do that in the week.
Well, nobody
Prior.
wanted to basically talk.
Well, in our defense, we weren't given enough info, and it kind of just slipped out of our minds.
I was expecting you to like contact me individually so we could handle it between sessions.
Now,
like
you see, you presume too much, sir.
Apparently, now I know I can't leave you guys to do anything by yourselves.
And we know that we can't trust you to tell us anything until it's right on top of us and trying to kill us.
So,
Okay, second topic.
out of curiosity, before we go on, you said you're going to take a break. That include from the FD6, or are you going to?
No, just
no,
for
no,
my
no.
readings. FFD6 is still posting, but it's up to Tom when that goes up on the internet, not me. He's the one who uploads.
Tom usually puts up an episode like every week. Like he's got them all scheduled on his channel, I think.
Yeah, he cuts up each individual session into a collection of shorter episodes, like into halves. So, like, it'll usually take like 2 episodes to get through a session, and they're all on his channel, not mine. So, yeah.
Although I feel like when we get to the point of Deviant Corp, they'll be cut into 3s, considering those usually went from 3 to 4 hours.
A lot of those were still 2s, but there were a few 3s in there. I know that much because I've done the thumbnails for all of them already.
Fair enough.
All right.
Eh.
So, second topic. We probably should have talked about this last time, but oh well. Let's just talk for a little about how everyone's holidays went.
I say pretty chilled. Hanged out with family.
Have you got any
Yeah.
short stories to share from your holidays this year? This is the time to share them.
Nope,
Well-
not really. Average.
I got nothing.
Pretty much
For the most part, I worked, but we just had our holidays last night.
Mm.
So
The main thing that happened with me is on Christmas Day, my family and I went to see the new Star Wars.
Nice.
Had fun.
And what did you think of it?
Well, I mean, I'm disinclined to share my opinion because I don't want to be roasted from every single angle.
I heard it was
I
terrible.
mean, I don't care either way. I'm going to go see it.
Hmm.
Well,
In my
I mean-
opinion,
I
no
mean-
spoilers. Just my opinion. I don't think that's it. In my opinion.
I'm one of those weird people who likes the sequels. Though I will say, I think this last one was, in my personal opinion, the weakest of the three of the sequels. I still liked it. I still had fun. But we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
Nah.
This year, the main other there wasn't really much else that happened. Not that would make a whole lot of sense to bring up here on Jibber Jabber. But yeah, I went to see the new Star Wars, and I just had a major brain fart.
Oh no.
Well,
A
that
new-
was only
a new
2
Star Wars
minutes.
fix.
Nah.
You're gonna make a new Star Wars fig, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm pony focused.
So,
I mean,
So
you
what's
could have a crossover.
MLP Star Wars.
I mean,
I
there
mean,
are
that's been a
fanfics
thing.
about that, but none of them have stood out enough to make me want to do readings of them.
I mean,
You
I
could
saw
write it.
parodies.
I don't want to write them. I don't know enough about the Star Wars extended universe, either of them, to do it justice, and people will get on my tail if I get anything wrong.
Right. It's like, I had a cool idea for a Halo-based one, but I know little to nothing about Halo, and I don't want to get roasted.
Right? And the Star Wars Legends continuity, which I would probably use as my baseline, is so unbearably congested with so much stuff, a lot of it self-contradictory, that trying to slip anything in there without deciding to ignore a significant chunk of it is basically impossible, especially when it comes to the life of Luke Skywalker. They covered every minute of that guy's life from the moment the Emperor died to the end of Luke's life, and then they just kept following his goddamn lineage. Just, oh, God. Stop!
To be honest, though, I did prefer Legends. I think
Yeah,
canon for many reasons.
Both have good and bad things in them.
Yeah, I mean, here's a good big difference. General Grievous, total fucking badass. Definitely feared by many Jedi, except freaking those who can take him on, like Master Windu, Yoda, and definitely fucking Obi-Wan. In the movie canon universe, he's a fucking joke and just
Bullshit.
It's-
Fucking Clone Wars is still canon, and he kicked ass every episode he was in.
No. I'm sorry, but if you compare him to the one from the 2D Clone Wars, that's the Grievous I like. But the one in this, he got defeated and humiliated constantly. He does have his badass moments, don't get me wrong, but there are moments where I just question why they
But
nerfed the fuck out of him.
Hear me out, Paladin. Without
Paladin and Darkness,
That's darkness.
motherfucker. I hate the pun, Lord.
Hear me out, Darkness. If we didn't have our current canon, we wouldn't have Death Watch, which is the best fucking group of the entire Mandalorian.
I'm not talking about
my
them.
fucking mind.
I'm just talking about Grievous.
So
For fuck's sake. I mean, the Death Watch, yes, but Grievous, the fuck happened to you?
I have no
Can
idea
I-
what the Death Watch is, and I can't.
I don't know.
Oh,
pretend me to
Death
say
Can I-
Watch are a group of they're a group of Mandalorian warriors that wanted to change the peaceful society back to the warrior-driven society that they were before.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay,
can I sneak in a question here?
sure.
Sure.
go on.
So, as a guy who knows nothing about Star Wars, and then somebody mentioned Yoda earlier, from my little understanding, Yoda's supposed to be dead. So, what's with the baby Yoda memes everywhere?
Oh,
He's
that's
so
that's
fucking
another
cute.
that's another
Series.
member of his same species.
Yeah,
They're not related.
I know, but
So,
there's
why do they call him
constantly
Baby
calling
Yoda?
it
Because
because
they-
it's a thing.
his official name is the
Because
Child,
canon.
but everyone just calls him Baby Yoda because that's easier to understand in terms of appearance. Because he's
Also, the
Hmm.
species doesn't have a name. It's just referred to as Yoda species. because
Yeah,
Lucas didn't
Mr.
wanna
George
name them.
Lucas didn't want to.
yeah.
I thought it was
That's
called the
why.
Prestigian.
That was part of the
No.
extended universe, and that got fucking deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no one refers to them by that.
Okay.
I mean, George Lucas just didn't want to name them. Or some people put it, maybe just wants them to be mysterious. Stop overthinking it, you smuck. He didn't want to fucking name them. But anyway, the third topic, I guess, if there's nothing else.
I can't
Odd
think.
dreams.
Yep, odd dreams. So, this one was suggested by one of the other people who sometimes joins Jibber Jabber but didn't this week.
So
Any like odd dreams or funny dreams, preferably, or just ones that are weird and make you scratch your head and go, "What?" I have a lot of stories about weird ass dreams like this, so I think I'll start with the most recent one, which I actually had this morning. Kind of a fever dream-ish type thing, largely because sometimes I overheat like crazy in my bed and start sweating profusely if my fan isn't pointed at me just right. And when that happens, I have weird-ass pseudo-dreams. And in this one, I was I was in a house that was like a combination of the last 3 houses I've lived in, mushed together and blended into this weird amalgamation of shit that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And I was heading out into the backyard, and I look to my right, and I see this possum, angry-looking possum on a raised bit of the yard. Now, of course, it's angry and baring its teeth at me, so my first instinct is to leave the angry animal alone. It might have rabies. But that's what the reasonable side of my brain says. The dream side of my brain says, animal, pet.
oh no.
So I reach out for...
Fact about possums, they're not aggressive.
This one was.
Bullshit.
They can be if you piss them off or to basically disturb them.
Right. Well, this one. This one was being pissy. So I reach out to it. It snarls, and then charges at me and starts like wringing itself all over my hand and biting and scratching at me, not doing any damage, but just kind of being annoying. And so, Dreamy throws it, flails around for a minute trying to dislodge him, and that's not working. So Dreamy eventually gets the idea. When the possum comes around again to bite my thumb, grab it by the throat, and then throw it as high into the air as possible.
My goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, I got brutal there for a minute. So
That went up fast.
So here's this possum trying to disembowel my hand and failing miserably, not even breaking skin. And then finally I just like, yeetus deletus, motherfucker, and chucked him skyward.
Yeetus deletus.
Because I yeeted him to delete his life. Anyway, so
Yeet!
yeet! So the possum spins in the air a few times, comes back down, crashes to the ground. And I start approaching to try and determine whether or not he's dead or just playing dead. And then I woke up.
Petting possum.
And then I woke up. So I don't know if I killed the possum or if it was just playing its namesake. I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be you walking on your OC and Chrysalis.
No.
For fuck's sake, shut the fuck up.
No.
Close that door!
No.
We're gonna take that thought, we're gonna put it in a box, and we're gonna fucking burn the box.
Yeah, we're gonna make
We're
that
never
thought
gonna
be
speak
gone.
about it again.
Yeah, be gone to that thought. Now then.
Big
Be
girl,
gone.
stopping thoughts.
Fucked.
And I've had a lot of really weird dreams caused by shit like that. Another one that immediately springs to mind is from when I was like a kid, like really, really little, like fresh out of diapers little. And in that one, what was happening is I don't remember many of the details. I just know that it was Christmas. There was a huge-ass Christmas tree in the back of the room. I was tiny, so everything looked big and amazing to me. And for some reason, in my living room, there was a mechanical, cheesy, like, B-movie robot Woody from Toy Story there. With, like, blinking lights and, the glowing white, yellowy eyes and all that.
You're my favorite deputy.
He what? No, he didn't say a thing. He just started choking me.
What?
Yeah.
He went chucky on you.
He just grabbed me by the throat and started squeezing and squeezing. I realized, I can't breathe. And then I realized,
Woody
I'm dying.
wants to play.
And then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck was that? Yeah, I've had some weird fucking dreams. Another one. I don't remember most of the details. There are only a couple moments that really stand out to me. For some reason, the cast of Over the Hedge was there, and I was among them, like sneaking around in a house. But at the same time, I was also in another part of the house, as in my human me, reading a new Curious George book. But my brother was in the adjacent room spying on me reading this Curious George book, and because I was a little kid, I read the book out loud. And as I was reading it out loud, getting really invested into what was happening, because this was apparently a really fucking tense Curious George book. He was like trapped on a space station in space in a spacesuit. Weird, right? I know. But anyway, so as I'm turning the pages, my brother keeps going and just gives these gasps that make my blood run cold. I like paralyzed with fear every time he does it, and I tell him, don't do that, and then I turn to the next page and keep going. And eventually I get to the last page of the book where like the last two drawings of that particular Curious George book. The first one shows George in what looks like an airlock being helped up into the space station proper by two people, and then the very next one is the very same airlock. The people are gone. George's suit is there, but there's no George, and there's just a big pile of dust that's filling up the entire room.
That's dark.
Oh, yeah, it is dark. I was really confused, and I have no idea what the hell the context was.
Well, this is where George dies.
Yeah, and that's where my brother did the creepy gasp thing again, irritating me to no end. So I took the book, and I took it to my
And threw it
grandma to show her and ask, is this right? Did we get the wrong book? And, I brought it out and I showed her the panel where George died. She turns to look at me, and the second she sees it, like no hesitation, her eyes suddenly go wide. She opens her mouth, and it's like fucking green cottage cheese just starts coming out of her mouth all over the book. Like she's throwing up greenish cottage cheese, and all I remember going is, oh. And then I woke up, sweating buckets and terrified as all hell.
Okay.
And I have no idea what the fuck was happening in any of that, but it stuck with me because it was that goddamn confusing.
You know,
Damn.
with all of the crap that you write, I can see your dreams being this weird.
Yeah, well, I don't usually remember many dreams. A lot of the ones I remember from when I was younger. These days, I only remember pseudo dreams, which happen when I'm in a partially lucid and awake state. When you're
Honestly, I can't remember dreams. All I remember are nightmares.
Yeah. Well, then I won't ask you to recall any interesting, weird, odd, or funny dreams, so I'll move on to darkness instead.
Yeah, go on.
Do you happen to have any odd, funny, weird, or strange dreams that you remember that you would like to share with the rest of the class?
Fuck it, why not? I mean, I had some pretty strange ones in my time. I mean, one of which where it was quite a fucking horrific dream, I would say. It seemed like a normal day. I just thought it was all real. One moment I got up, I got out of bed, and I went to breakfast, and then the fucking ground started to shake, and I wondered why. And then I heard crashing cars and screaming. Looked out the fucking window. A fucking volcano was rising from the fucking ground.
And fucking, and more fucking.
Yeah, because it was pretty like tense, horrifying. And then I thought, oh shit! I went as fast as I can. Also took the dogs with me.
Oh shit!
I had no idea. I had no idea when my bloody mother went off too. But all I did was basically the fucking dogs along, and then the lava was spreading everywhere. The ground started to quake, lava rising, and then at one point I realized this huge explosion went off at random. I fell to the ground. I look up, and next thing you know, I had freaking 2 dogs surrounded by lava, including me, and only a few things to jump to, and from the looks of it, only had enough time to save one, which I didn't want to do that. I wanted to save them both.
You yoinked them out.
And I had pretty much no idea what to do. The lava was rising, and I didn't really have time to save both of them. Not to mention my dogs are freaking huge, so lifting one up and trying to jump won't work.
I don't know why you did it with Rocket.
But
Session 1 callback, motherfuckers!
I tried that, and unfortunately it didn't go well. And next thing you know, I woke up and I felt all hot and sweaty, like, the fuck? And I was disoriented. I just didn't know what the hell happened. Even my head was spinning.
Yeesh.
It was weird.
Yeah, well.
And I think the only other weird one I had, which I have this one constantly now and then, wherever I fall, I feel it. I feel like gravity just freaking... What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I feel freaking gravity weighting me down to the ground as fast as possible. And when I wake up, I just even felt it from my body. It's like, What the hell was that feeling?
Huh.
Made my flicking skin crawl.
Hmm.
I have no idea.
Well then. What about you, Soviet? Do you have any interesting dream stories you could share?
None immediately come to mind.
Oh, a shame because you're usually pretty good at telling entertaining stories.
Usually military stories, but
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Mm.
I don't know. The only one that I can remember like fragments of is very weird because it's me and like a few of my real life friends, except we're not normal us. For some reason, we're in the Middle Ages and we're knights. But plot twist, we also have muskets. How does this work? I don't fucking know. My subconscious is a weird and terrifying place that even I don't like delving into it.
You know, I
Fair
can't.
enough,
I
then.
honestly can't see you as a knight.
Yeah, you're not
I-
chivalrous enough.
I mean, let's just say if the world was a medieval setting, I wouldn't be a knight serving a king. I would be a mercenary traveling from town to town.
There you go. And how does one get a musket in the Middle Ages?
Well, the Middle Ages wasn't that far off from when we discovered musket technology. But that's besides the point.
I thought you were going to say you had a bolt action.
No, fucking.
No, you see, no. Here's what he does. He's a knight, but he runs around with a Kalashnikov and just shoots through all of their armor.
See, you make this joke, but I would actually do that.
Exactly.
I think you wound him up enough, man.
Just watch an entire line of knights in full plate armor just tell him, "No, you can't go in."
Okay.
Kalashnikov.
But I want you to get this mental image in your head. Doing the cha-cha slide, but in full tank mail, in full fucking plate mail armor.
That's gonna be
How?
very loud.
Well,
You know, that reminds me. Kind of off topic here for a minute, but at one point, my mother was browsing Facebook and she apparently found like a post that showed a conversation from Tumblr where a bunch of people were discussing like the best armor, weapon, and means of transportation one could have in a zombie apocalypse. And one person suggested that the best means of transportation is a bicycle because you don't need fuel for it and it's quiet and faster than walking. Another person suggested that the best defensive gear would be solid plate armor from like the medieval ages because zombies are going to have one hell of a time breaking through that.
I mean, even I was thinking, why
yeah,
not wear
but they're
like
not gonna
some
have too
form
much
of
problem
armor?
pulling your arm out of the socket.
Well, I mean, yeah, but all the same, they're going to have a hard time even hurting you is the thing because they only have their teeth and fingers to work with. You still don't want to get caught by them, of course, but it's a lot more protection than, say, a bulletproof vest, which works better against projectiles, but not so well against teeth digging into your jugular.
Let's just hope they don't go through some further mutation.
And if I recall, and I don't remember what the best.
I was about to say, which zombie apocalypse are we talking here? Like regular or like Left 4 Dead type?
I don't fucking know. Mom didn't specify when she was recounting it. Probably just regular. And and I don't remember what the weapon was, but like this, a knight in full plate armor riding around on a bicycle with some manner of unfitting weapon. And then someone actually dressed up that way and did it and took a picture and shared it. So someone actually did it. They got in full plate armor from the medieval ages, got on a bicycle, and rode around.
How does one ride a bicycle in full plate armor?
Very carefully.
Well, here's a common misconception. Plate armor, like what we see in historical books, like in history, it is very mobile.
Well, I mean, I know you can move, but you're gonna have restrictions.
Yeah, but it depends on the style of the armor.
Well, again, plate armor that we know from like what D&D and all of these base theirs off of, it's extremely mobile, which is surprising considering that you're wearing a bunch of
Plates.
heavy metal plates, and most of the time, if you're doing it properly, chainmail and gamberson under it.
Exactly.
So the real problem then is weight and whether or not you'd cause the bicycle to snap under you. But this
They
guy
say
did
there's how do you balance yourself on the
it.
bicycle?
I mean, this guy did it.
How do you go to the bathroom?
Like this.
You don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
You go before you put the armor on.
Although, wasn't there like some special suits of armor where it opens up down there?
No,
No.
no. anytime a soldier actually had to go, you go before, because if you need to go in like during your patrol or something,
You're fucked.
you're fucked, because you're either gonna have to find some way of getting out of your pants fast enough, or just
Pee yourself.
do your business. Just do your business right there.
Yeah. Which is not ideal.
Not ideal, but sometimes you had to.
Right.
Shall we go back to topic and see if anyone else has some interest?
I think we've gone through everybody. in the
Lightning,
weird
what about
dream.
you?
Oh.
Any weird dream stories you
Wow.
could share?
You skipped me.
Well,
Yeah, what about Paladin and Lightning?
I just asked Lightning if he'll
Yeah.
answer.
I was talking to Hades.
Hello.
I'm forgetful.
Not really weird, but it was a bit peculiar. This is back when I was still doing job interviews. One dream I had was very vivid, which I remember quite well. It was me being sat at a table with Stephen Fry, Alan Davies, and some of the other crew from QI, going over the show script for a episode. And the reason I envisioned this is because I had a job interview the next morning. They were going to be my interviewees.
I think you mean interviewers, but all right.
Interviewers, yes. They were going to be my interviewers. I was going to be interviewed by Stephen Fry.
I mean, I don't know who that is, but
What the new? Fair enough. Yeah,
That's it.
pretty much.
Okay.
I know. I told you it wasn't very interesting.
All right then. Mr. Paladin.
Define weird.
preferably something like funny or absurd.
Non-violent.
So, something funny or absurd.
I think the closest ones are my time when I was back in middle school, where I had dreams where I forgot to put on my pants when I walked to school. Of course, later that one day, I missed a bus. So,
Oh
Must
dear.
have been some omen.
Whoops.
Well, at least it ain't bad as Stewie's dream. But what's this? Oh no, I'm naked.
no, I'm not naked. I just don't got any pants on.
Going free
I still
willy,
got
are
my
you?
shirt. I still got my undies and shirt on. I just don't have my pants.
Prefer the breeze, do we?
Like I just see myself walking to school with just no shirt.
Fair enough then. I guess that's it.
No pants, no socks, no problem.
I've got nine not pounds, but a period one. Okay, I screwed that up. Let me
Yeah.
roll.
I
So,
think so. Yeah, I think we've pretty much gone over odd dreams. Didn't quite get as much out of that as I'd been hoping, but dreams are a fickle thing and hard to remember. So, last topic. I do believe we are long overdue to continue more stories of Crimson the Dragon.
Oh, so much so. The campaign has ended.
Yay.
Well then,
What?
regale us
Yeah.
with stories, darkness.
Okay, last time, as you well know, Crimson is currently stuck in a human version of herself, no thanks to her mischief of a stepbrother, who is also a changeling and shape-shifting, who is also a genius at imitations, but clearly fucks up along the way. But anyway, she's been hanging around a mercenary, coincidentally named Brian, who's basically was the guy who also pointed a bow and arrow at her when they were facing off against the first boss, which was a dark blue mage. Well, second if you ever count the other guy. But anyway, she's been hanging around with him. they had completed assignment to find out there was a guy who was being a complete fraud and cheating the people out of their valuables by claiming he worshipped a god that doesn't exist or is even a fake religion he made up himself, which was also had a magic user as an accomplice to pull off some fake miracles with his spells. But with a little bit of a conflict, it was sorted out. He's going to jail as he surrenders after Crimson, who goes by the name of Clara in a human form to be undercover, threatened him with her 2 new swords. And they also saved a child who was with them, who was basically like his servant. And now the town... Yeah, slave, unfortunately. But now he's been raised by the town, and after a moment, he's going to be fine. And Brian, despite he's a mercenary, he's not your typical greedy mercenary. He has heart, and after he was offered 8,000 gold for the job, he only took 2,000, which he shared half of that with Clara. And then they made their way back to the main camp. And this is where it starts off again. And as soon as they come back, there was a note left there by Victor. The note reads, "If you come back from that little assignment of yours, come join me a few miles from the campsite, if you please, near the mountain with the great forest. I require your specialty, and bring your new associate if she's still alive. She may be very useful." So with that, they started to head off to his position. And when they got there, he had a lot of equipment set up all around the place, which Clara almost stepped into one, which he quickly stopped her. "Careful, my dear, unless you want to lose your foot." "Oh. What the hell is all this?" "Just part of my job. Don't you worry about that. Say, Miss, Clara, could you be a dear and put this out there, would you please? While me and my good old friend Brian here sets up a few special traps." Sure." And after Brian was looking at it all, he started to question Victor what he was doing. Especially some of this equipment was a bit excessive. Wondered what the hell was going on. "Listen, all I know is it's a very important target. We need it alive. Not dead. Alive." "But I don't understand. Some of this stuff is for the underground." "Wait. Has anyone else helped you with this?" "Well, when you say someone else, maybe a few of the other mercenaries, but don't worry, you're a smart chappy. You're not like them." And then something just clocked in his head. "Clara, come back here now." "No, Brian, don't." Oh. "What? Get out of there." And before she even did, the ground started to shake around them, and something started to emerge from the ground. And as it did, Clara saw a load of snapping teeth come at her, but luckily she managed to dodge those. Are you fucking kidding me? You're trying to catch a boulet? What's wrong with that? Many things is the problem. And just for those who don't know, a boulet is basically what they formerly known as in D&D, a land shark. It is a ferocious beast.
Pulling up the monster manual now so I can look for it.
Go ahead. And feel free to explain in more better detail what it is quickly.
Assuming I can find it, assuming it's the right edition. You never did tell me what edition they were playing.
Well, I did say it was basically a bit of a mix editions because they like a lot of D&D.
Ah, here it is. The Boule. Ooh, that thing looks fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It does.
Oh no, he's gonna put it in your guys' campaign now.
No, because FFD6 is
Yeah.
the same as D&D.
No, because trust me, Thanatos would literally take his head off. He did.
Yeah, that's true.
They're pretty tough beasts.
Yep, that is fascinating to look at. Challenge rating 5. Neat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, carry on.
Oh,
I just wanted to find out
okay.
what it looked like.
And once they realized it was a boule, they spring into action.
What the
And
fuck?
Victor's...
Did you look it up
What's
there,
up with you?
Soviet?
No, I've been working on my Arma thing in the background, and these AI confuse me. I have like the waypoint set for this transport truck to go behind a house, pull into the backyard, and for the soldiers to dismount. But instead, it went into the middle of the fucking road, and the officer just bailed out and fucking ran.
For context,
Fuck this Jedi mount.
Yeah, for context, while we're doing all of this, Soviet has been playing or doing some sort of modding type thing for Arma 3?
Yes,
Arma 3 this whole time. He was doing it before we started too, and was having one hell of a conniption when he saw that some of the guns were not 100% accurate to science and reality.
Mm.
For better context, I'm working on the series. I'm setting up the something for the first episode of that, but like AI, Arma 3, as a good friend put it, is known to be a quote functioning piece of software, and it confuses me. I tell it to do one thing, and it does not only does that thing wrong, but it does not even come close to doing what I want.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to dealing with programming and computers, it will only ever do what you tell it to. You just have to make sure you tell it the right way in the way it will understand. That's the thing. That's both the beauty, the strength, and the greatest weakness of all programming languages. They do exactly what you tell them to, but you have to tell them every single tiny step of the process.
Indeed. But back to this.
Yeah.
Back to the story. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's fine.
That's okay. It's understandable. Anyway. So, now they had to fight a boule. Although Victor was trying to still catch it and shot a load of equipment to try to restrain it. But this is a full-grown boule, and it was very hard to contain. He called Brian over to help him, but Clara was having a time with this beast because it was right up in her face and trying to kill her. Now, boules aren't made for chasing because they don't chase like actual sharks would. But if they get a hold of you, you're pretty much done. And these things are built like a fucking tank, and they take forever to take down. So, yeah. Just one of these is enough to fuck up a party. But anyway. So, she tried to lay in some attacks to defend herself. It did nothing. The sword didn't even pierce its tough hide. It just angered it even further. And then Brian rushed over to try to help Clara, where Victor was screaming at him. Brian, get back here. She's a lost cause anyway. It's too late to save her. Just help me reel the bastard thing in. But instead, he ignored him and just rushed over to basically distract the beast, and even managed to get onto its head, which started it to go ballistic. Clara, on the other hand, she got back to her feet, grabbed her weapons, and shouted to Victor, "If you want my advice, let that fucking thing go. Let it go? Are you kidding me? This thing, it could give me a fortune. What kind of fucking mercenary are you? This is dangerous." "Danger comes with the job, my dear." And the boule managed to get Ryan off him, and about to freaking charge towards him. But as it did, it got a hint of it just started to smell blood. It was coming from Clara. The creature immediately turned towards her and started to go towards her instead, going to catch her unaware. That is until Brian saw one of the harpoons and shot it. Once he triggered the mechanism, the harpoon went straight into the right into the bullet's eye, straight to the freaking brain and nerve system, as he shot it. And the creature screamed in agony and then started to go down, started to bleed out. Managed to save Clara just in the nick of time, which Victor was not happy with in the slightest. Brian, you fucking idiot! You just cost me a fortune! They wanted the creature alive, not dead! It's worthless! Who the fuck wants you alive? And why are you even capturing these creatures? Is it not part of the mercenary work? And he's having some issues. Okay, children. But anyway. Look, I have a job and you just ruined it. Wait a minute. Is this what you've been doing? Is this what happened to all the others? You've been using them to capture this creature? What if I did? I'm just trying to earn a living. You sacrificed your own men for this? Well...
I smell a kick to the dick coming.
You see, Brian, mercenary work isn't really working how it usually does now. Nobody wants a mercenary. I took up a new job. One that pays more, and more is much more rewarding. You're a poacher now. If you want to be blunt about it, yes. And what you just done, you've just cost me my pay. You know what? I think we're done here. Where the fuck are you going? I'm done. My biggest mistake was to trust you. You don't mean I do. Where I am going. Because you just put her at risk and me at risk for this beast. Which I had the unfortunate to kill myself because it would have killed her. Now, if you don't mind, I wish not to repeat any more mistakes, and I'm leaving. No, Brian. And then Brian felt a huge stab in the back, and then freaking got holed up in the air. The biggest mistake you've made is to turn your back on me. And flinged him aside.
Great.
What the fuck? Why do you do that? I don't tolerate those who backstab me. Not to mention those who are not willing to help me with the job. And to question my line of work. Now, my dear, you have two choices yourself. Join me. Or him. And then she threw one of her and then she shot a freaking second harpoon right at him. Unfortunately, though, she missed. He moved out the way. Stupid idea, miss.
Boss time.
Yep. She went to take him on, but unfortunately, her blades were showing no efficient until one point he grabbed a hold of her, which was like a slow action thing, and then he freaking got his arm stabbed with a sword right through his arm. Which, yeah, he just freaking removed it, but it was very unpleasant and just punched her right into a tree, knocking the breath right out of her. This is a big pissed off orc, and he takes shit off no one. All that for a stab wound. Pathetic.
All that for a drop of blood.
Yep. And as he's about to bring this huge, massive club thing upon her and about to crush her skull in, an arrow shot right into his eye.
What?
This arrow came from the Veya, who was in the treetops. Appears that she's been watching, keeping an eye on Clara for a long while. Basically, one of the members of the party. She was ordered by Mirren to watch out for her, just in case she gets into any trouble. A fucking tiefling! I was half blinded by a fucking tiefling! What the fuck is this shit? You scrawny little bitch!
Did
You
you
wait
shoot
till I
him?
come.
Did you shoot him in the other eye?
Well, on point of the insult, he was then attacked by Wolfie, the wolf that was accompanying the party at the time, who just sprang from the fucking bushes and just freaking attacked his throat.
Whole party to the rescue type scenario?
Well, it's just those two at first. And even with those two help, he was still a trouble to deal with. He was still a problem. And then there was an angry scream charging towards him, and then this fucking dwarf just jumped in the air and stabbed him in the back. Which was just like, fuck! Oh, shit! Darwin, be careful! What's going on? My axe is stuck in his back! Get off my back, you little shit! Oh. And if Dorman was having a rough time just hanging onto his axe, just let go. It's my favorite axe. Just let go, man. He's going to kill you.
It's my
No,
favorite
I got him.
axe.
I got him. I got. Oh. And he just freaking kept ramming him into trees and in the ground. He's still not letting go. I got him. Somebody help me.
I got him, somebody. I miss Dorwin. I miss him so much. Shit.
When I get you off my back, I'm going to kill you with your own axe. What's wrong, you big fucker? Can't get me. Oh. You know, just bashing me into random shit ain't good for you. The axe is just getting deep. Ow, ow, ah.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Just kill this big bastard.
It's went
What
from
do you
very
think,
dark
Mitch?
and serious to very funny very quickly. That's just what happens when Doran enters the room. In comes Doran, and everything stops getting serious.
Mm-hmm.
Bring Ashton in, and everything stops making sense.
Which is funny, this whole fight scenario, because he's just confused what the fuck's going on. What the fuck is this? You're fucking with my party. Your party is crazy! They're not taking this fucking seriously at all. There's a dwarf that thrown himself into my back. That bitch keeps shooting annoying arrows at me. I don't even get me started on the fucking wolf there.
They're trying to kill you.
But the fight finally come to a near close. But they managed to, unfortunately, he got the dwarf off his back and launched his axe out. And then frickin' Brian got healed up. He got back into the fight. He charged towards him and bashed right into him. And then he fell off the cliffside. Which of course, Brian was about to fall with him until someone grabbed the whole cape and pulled him back upwards just in time. It was Clara. As for the orc Victor, he landed with a mighty thump, was still alive but crippled from the fall. As he was crawling, he did get his prize, but not the way he wanted to. There was another bullet down there. Help me! You're very capable. Help yourself. No!
And he got eaten.
And just fucking dragged him under. And after Brian helped out her and see that he wasn't so bad, he joined the party. And that's when I have to end it here. Until he found out her real name. Wait, you called her Crimson? Yeah, as in the it's an interesting story. Oh shit! And he just fucking fainted.
Well,
Realizing it was the dragon
Well-
he fucking met back in the fortress.
well, as you say, continuing that story is gonna have to wait until the next time. So we
Indeed.
are out of time. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in to this episode of Jibber Jabber. We will see you next time. Until then, keep listening, people. Bye.
Adios.
Bye,
Karma is
everyone.
a functioning piece of software.